Hey guys, what's happening? Niyat here with Film Comics Explained, and today we'll be taking a look at Leatherback and Otashi, which were two level 4 kaijus featured in Pacific Rim. Leatherback was an extremely hostile kaiju whose appearance and movement was akin to that of a gorilla, using its knuckles to get by and its weight during combat. The beast also possessed 14 bioluminescent tendrils on the back of its head that wiggled when the creature was agitated. Running headfirst into its battles, the kaiju was brutal and relentless, using its mace-like fists and the hard protrusions that covered its hands and body to tear through armor. Its thick skin also allowed it to withstand great amounts of damage, and this was further reinforced with the dense armor on its shoulders, as well as a rather notable crest-like plate that covered the top of its head. The massive kaiju also had 6 eyes spread across its face, giving it increased visual acuity. While the kaiju did not possess the same level of intelligence or cunning as Otashi, with its strength instead coming from its rage, the kaiju's deadliest asset was its large 4-lobed organ on its back, which could be charged to generate an electromagnetic pulse that was capable of disabling most of the Jaegers. As with Leatherback, Otashi was one of the largest and heaviest Category 4 kaiju to make landfall, and the massive beast would walk on all fours instead of standing upright like some of the other kaiju types. Her anatomy consisted of 2 short legs and 4 long digit hand wings that she could use to fly, and her wings were essentially stored inside of her forearms for protection, folding out from an elongated, double-jointed 5th digit when needed. Otashi also had a long tail with bony plates along her spine, as well as 3 prehensile pincers on the end of the tail, which could be used as a club or claw against the Jaegers. The facial structure of Otashi is made up of a long plated neck that supported her head, which featured a large powerful jaw. The face was marked by a signature crest between her forehead and snout with 2 extra golden eyes. The crest was also curved in the front with a long sturdy spike protruding from the back that helped protect the eyes from attacks. The bottom jaw was capable of splitting in 2, allowing her to spit from the pouch located below the maw. Her tongue also had a flowering and bioluminescent structure, which she apparently used either as a grasping mechanism or sensing organ, similar in function to a snake's vomeronasal organ. Along with her size and ability to fly, Otashi also had a sac under her neck that could be engorged to spit out a blue corrosive acid that was easily capable of burning through the thick armor of the Jaegers. During the Hong Kong incident, Otashi and Leatherback both emerged from the breach and headed for Hong Kong with the intention of hunting down Newton. Crimson Typhoon and Cherno Alpha were deployed to intercept them, while Striker Eureka had been requested to remain on the sidelines with orders not to engage unless necessary. Otashi then sprung out of the ocean, using its barbed tail to knock over Crimson Typhoon, and even though the pilots had engaged their signature Thundercloud formation, Otashi was able to single-handedly engage both Crimson Typhoon and Cherno Alpha. While the 2 Jaegers did give her a beating, she was eventually able to knock Cherno Alpha to the ground, moments before using the pincer at the end of her tail to crush the conpad of Crimson Typhoon, forcing the beheaded Jaeger to collapse into the bay. Otashi then spat a stream of its corrosive acid onto Cherno Alpha, which damaged its armor and caused the reactor to leak, and though Striker Eureka attempted to help out by rushing towards the fight, Leatherback suddenly leapt out of the water and began destroying Alpha, while Otashi made its way towards Striker Eureka. While Otashi was moments away from being obliterated by Striker Eureka's anti-kaiju missiles, Leatherback was able to use his EMP attack to disable Striker Eureka and the Shadow Dome, enabling Otashi to seek out Newton and complete their mission uninterrupted. Luckily for the father and son in the disabled Jaeger, the old and mighty Gypsy Danger, which ran on nuclear power and was unaffected by the EMP, arrived on the scene and was able to go toe-to-toe with Leatherback on the docks prior to eventually destroying it using its plasma caster. And while Otashi had managed to track Newton down to a public anti-kaiju refuge before she could devour him, her attention was drawn towards the approaching Gypsy Danger, which was armed with an oil tanker. Realizing that it could not fight Gypsy Danger in the open, the clever Otashi began employing ambush tactics by using the buildings as cover, and just as it was getting ready to spit corrosive acid at the Jaeger, Gypsy responded by dodging its attack and ripping out the acid sac in its throat. Otashi then leapt onto Gypsy Danger, wrapping her talons around its chest, before unfurling her wings and taking off with the Jaeger in tow. After smashing the Jaeger into numerous buildings, the kaiju began climbing several thousand feet above the atmosphere, and just as the oxygen of its pilots began to run out, the pair successfully deployed their chainsword and cut Otashi in half, ending the battle as the 2 fell back to Earth. This of course was not the last of Otashi that we would see, as although she had perished after being cut in half, we later found out that she was actually pregnant with a mini kaiju. While the body of Otashi was being harvested for organs back on Earth, the men that were inside of her belly began hearing a heartbeat moments before the baby broke out and killed a number of the researchers. Now, there isn't much detail that goes into how this happened in the film, but based on what we learn about the creatures from the comics, it's likely that Otashi had been engineered by the Precursors to self-procreate through unexplained means. While the baby did eventually perish after accidentally choking itself in an attempt to feed on the people around it, I also think it's likely that had it been given time to develop into an adult, she would have also been able to give birth just like her mother. As Earth was merely the latest world the Precursors designed to take over, it would have made sense for them to send infantry units that could create more soldiers, instead of relying on sending hordes of kaiju through the rift. Now this of course is my personal theory, and I'd love to hear some of your ideas regarding the infant, so please share those thoughts in the comments below. Well, that's all for today, folks. Thanks to all of you guys who requested we take a look at Leatherback and Otashi as featured in Pacific Rim. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click the notification icon to stay up to date on all my content. And if there's anything else you'd like to request, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.